Of course, we all remember that Lauryn Hill was that girl back in the day, winning Grammys, getting tons of praise, and her album The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill playing nonstop just about everywhere. So how did one of the biggest stars of her time just kind of disappear from the spotlight almost all of a sudden? You know,
all three members dropped solo albums. Lauryn Hill's album has the most success. But then she stops dropping albums. I mean, she had like the MTV Unplugged album, but she doesn't really drop a real follow-up to this diamond-selling album. You know, you guys are still close. Did she tell you why she stopped making albums?
She just felt uninspired.
Well, once again, people out here are saying that Diddy might have had something to do with Lauryn Hill's big rise and sudden fall. I know, it sounds wild at first, right? But when you start connecting the dots, Diddy's name just keeps showing up around artists who blew up fast and then kind of vanished just as quickly. We've been hearing the rumors for years. Artists getting blackballed, shady deals falling apart, and talented folks being pushed out of the spotlight. And guess what? For a lot of those artists, Diddy is the name that keeps coming up. Baby, that list is long, from Day 26 to Donady Kane, to a bunch of artists we don't even hear about anymore. So now people are wondering, is Lauryn Hill another one of those names on that list? When you think about Lauryn, who built her whole career on staying true to herself and saying no to the industry's tricks, maybe something happened behind the scenes. Maybe not playing along got her put on someone's blacklist. Was it the fact that she was with Wyclef even though he was married? Was it her attitude and the things she said about white people that rubbed folks the wrong way? Was it that big lawsuit that drained her? Or that cult leader who pulled her away from everyone and everything? And here's the real kicker. What does MC LYTE know? Because the word is. She has also been talking behind the scenes about how someone, possibly Diddy, may have played a role in Lauryn Hill getting pushed out of the industry. Okay guys, so what about actual interactions between Lauryn and Diddy? Well, there were actually a few. For starters, Lauryn Hill founded the Refugee Project, a non-profit meant to help at-risk kids in the city. And guess what? Diddy was on the board of trustees. Also in 2023, both Lauryn Hill and Diddy were part of the Roots picnic in Philadelphia. Diddy performed with the Roots, and Lauryn celebrated 25 years of her album The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Besides that, there's not much public info showing they were close. But now, some people are saying that, just like he allegedly did to other artists, Diddy may have helped get Lauryn Hill blacklisted too. And if that's true, it's honestly one of the saddest parts of this whole Diddy mess. Because Lauryn Hill? She was a gem. We're talking about someone who always dreamed of being a star since she was super young. At just 13 years old, Lauryn Hill decided to show off her singing skills on the famous Apollo stage in New York City. She picked the Jackson 5 song Who's Lovin' You. But things didn't go the way she hoped. She got really nervous up there, and it was tough for her to keep singing. The crowd actually started booing her while she was still on stage. Even though things started off tough at the Apollo, Lauryn didn't give up. When she was in high school, she joined a hip-hop group called the Fugees. The group was started by her Haitian friend Praz. At first, it was just Praz and a girl named Marcy, and Marcy was the one who brought Lauryn into the group. Later on, Praz's cousin Wyclef joined too. They were all still students, but they somehow found time to record songs and perform at different events. They got so good that by the end of the school year, 3 record labels wanted to sign them. Lauryn also started acting around that time. She even got a role in the movie Sister Act 2 with Whoopi Goldberg. But right when her career was really starting to take off, her first big controversy hit. There were rumors going around that Lauryn said something really bad about white people. Like she'd rather die or let her kids go hungry than have white people listen to her music. These were just rumors. Nobody ever proved they were true, but people got really mad. Some say that's when her career troubles began. Later on, Lauryn did try to explain things and clear up the misunderstanding on Howard Stern's show.
No, I think that it was probably taken out of context. What I was saying is that I make my music for young black youth because I'm a young black youth myself, and there's a message in my songs.
Yes.
And that's for people who look and come from the same areas that I do. That doesn't mean that my music isn't universal.
So you don't mind white people? So you never said, I don't want white people to buy my music?
I mean, I'm not stupid. You know, I'm a musician, but I like to consider myself a businesswoman.
I mean, your manager's a white guy, right?
Yeah, he is.
Right.
So what was said?
Even though Lauryn was going through a lot of drama, the Fugees still did really well. They won 2 Grammy Awards, one for Best R&B Performance and one for Best Rap Album. But even with all that success, the group broke up. That shocked a lot of people. Lauryn's old manager said it was because the group had different ideas about their music. Lauryn herself said, "I wanted to stay in the group forever, but I started feeling like I needed to speak my truth and be free, without anyone holding me back." So Lauryn decided to go solo, and she was amazing. Her first album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, was a huge hit. It sold over 10 million copies and won 5 Grammy Awards. What really surprises me is this. Lauryn Hill was at the very top. She had #1 hits, sold out huge concerts, and her solo album is still called one of the greatest ever. She had everything. So how does someone that successful just disappear? She didn't put out a big second album. She hardly worked with other famous artists. And the music world seemed to just quietly forget about her. It just doesn't make sense. How does someone who's a big star just disappear? Something or someone had to be behind it. Lauryn got into a big legal fight with a company called New Arc Entertainment. They said she didn't give them credit for their work on her album Miseducation. The lawsuit was settled when Lauryn paid them $5 million. This hurt her a lot emotionally. Plus, she felt a lot of pressure to do even better, and it made her pull away from the music world. In an interview, Lauryn said she had to step away from being famous because it was too hard. She felt trapped by the pressures and fake things in the music industry. Later, in another interview, she said her record label never even asked her how they could help make another album. She talked about how after her first album, there was a lot of politics, fake stories, and people trying to use her success for their own gain. If her experience didn't match their story, they treated her like an enemy. Lauryn also said men and women aren't treated the same in the music business. Men can say what they want, but women get pushed back hard when they speak up. She wanted to make music and live freely without being controlled or threatened. She also spoke about problems like sexism and the IRS treating her unfairly. All of this may have caused the music industry to blacklist her and push her out.
The concept of successful living is escaping the matrix, as we talked about, It has very little to do with what people think success is. I actually feel successful right now, even though, I don't have an album out or a video or a song on the radio.
Just like a lot of other artists who try to stand up for themselves, people started calling Lauryn difficult. She got a reputation for not showing up on time, or sometimes not showing up at all, but still expecting to be respected and paid in full. And yeah, she really was super late to a lot of her shows. Then in 2012, she got into more trouble when she didn't pay about $1.8 million in taxes. In 2013, she had to go to jail for 3 months because of that. By then, Lauryn's music career had almost disappeared. People also started seeing her as someone you couldn't count on, mostly because she was always late to concerts. But if you ask Lauryn why all of this happened, she says it's because she didn't want to follow the music industry's unfair rules and just wanted to protect her rights as an artist.
Because I think that what I've consciously decided to do is be patient and wait for those instructions again, as opposed to the instructions from the record company. I can't, unfortunately, I can't fulfill their needs. I can't, because it's devoid of all feeling, you know what I mean? I have to make sure that what I create, I never want to condescend. There are a lot of people who condescend to the audience. They just think, oh, they like anything, just throw a beat on it and put your voice on it. But if it doesn't move me, then I don't think it's worthy enough to put out there and move someone else, you know what I mean? Like it has to be something that is personally, is something that I need personally. That's my barometer for whether or not it's good for the people.
Now don't get me wrong. Lauryn Hill had her own problems. The pressure to be perfect, the mean things people said in the news, fights with the music bosses, and maybe even some personal struggles with how she was feeling inside. All of that was real. But now, people are starting to say there might be more to the story. Some folks think that Diddy might have had something to do with why Lauryn disappeared from the spotlight so suddenly. Not by saying anything out loud, but by using his power in quiet ways. Like making sure people stopped calling her, not giving her chances, and slowly closing doors on her. Some people, like rapper MC LYTE, have been saying in private that Lauryn didn't just leave on her own. They say big powerful people didn't like that she was speaking the truth, and they made her go away. Okay, maybe this is just a theory. Maybe people are just guessing too much. But think about it. Does it really sound so crazy? In the music world, where people care a lot about looking cool and being in control, would it be shocking if someone like Diddy didn't like what Lauryn stood for, and made her pay for it? Artists don't just disappear when they're at the top of their game for no reason. And when you start looking at the pattern, who gets super famous and who suddenly goes away, it kinda makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe one day MC LYTE will tell us everything she knows. But until then, what do you think? Do you believe Diddy had anything to do with what happened to Lauryn Hill?